What's good, YouTube? Runicks YGO here. We did it. We made it to the first stage and finished it for the Synchro Cup of 2025, and we did it with a deck that I truly, genuinely enjoy that isn't Runic, but close to it. This was one of the decks that got me into Master Duel. I'm truly grateful for being able to play this deck. Boom! That deck is White Forest Bystials. It actually does work, and I genuinely love playing the Bystial engine all because of this one card, Branded Regain. It's super fun to play this deck and just outgrind your opponent by drawing out resourcing and synchro climbing into your boss monsters. And with some spice, we play Crimson Dragon to ultimately go into Cosmic Blazar Dragon. That's right, you can play Cosmic Blazar Dragon in this deck. Not as consistent as Centurion, but you could do something like this. If you want to play Cosmic Blazar Dragon that isn't Centurion, then this deck I recommend playing if you could play it. Jumping straight into the main deck and just showing off the deck, we're playing over 18 non-engine hand trap, board breakers, and not including the Bystials. 18, that's crazy. So Maxi, Ash Blossom, Fuvalos, the Nib, the Talents, Called By, Cross Out, Evenly, and Imperm. We're playing all of those. 18, if you want to count the Bystials, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22 non-engine hand trap, board breakers, interruptions, however you want to call it. Yes, you can definitely easily stop your opponent. And let's just jump straight into the deck just to show off what it is all about. LZ White Forest. So this is your main starter. This and Sylvie are your main starter to go full combo to White Forest. Now the deck can't run properly because it doesn't have its Azamina, but it could still go into Diabell, and your end board with Diabell and White Forest is just to get Morian and White Forest Woes, just to get the Book of Eclipse and one Book of Moon special summon, and go into your Synchro 10 boss monsters, Baron the Floor, Qingying, and Chaos Angel. So those three ends up being 3 interruptions for your opponent just by Diabell by itself. Easily going into it with LZ and Sylvie. Now the next card we play is LZ Azumina. I found out on stream the hard way. You have to play this extender LZ Azumina. Both LZs are crucial to play or you will not be able to go into Diabell. Typically how that goes, showing off, you go LZ, pitch a card, normal summon Sylvie by grabbing it to your hand, getting either Woes or Tails, sending that with Rusilla when you Synchro 6, and then you end up getting Azumina LZ, and then special summoning herself, extending into Diabell. That's typically how it goes. It's a very small engine. So overall, we're playing 3 LZs, 3 Sylvies, and 2 Rusias. Small engine. The whole point, though, is to be able to play Rusia and Sylvia because they're your tuners. And that ends the White Forest engine to go into the other engine, Bystials. Now, how this works is those tuners end up making you go into Synchro 10s and possibly 12s depending on your hand. We're playing 3 Lubellions, 1 Baldrake, 1 Druis Worm, and 1 Serenir, and 1 Magna Hunt. Those are it. Eventually going into Branded Regain and synchroing it up. Lastly, other things we're playing: Regain, Morian for the Book of Moon special summon monsters, and Woes. That is the main deck. Real quick, real concise. The whole point of this deck is just to go White Forest, get interrupted / baited or full combo into Diabell. Possibly if you open up with Bystials, you can banish them and set up Branded Regain, and at that point you'll have less than 5 interruptions with your hand, with the number of hand non-engine you're playing, layered interruption, and drawing with regain. So that is the game plan of the deck. Going into the extra deck, we're playing Zapper Shrimp. This is the formula synchron of the deck to be able to go into the Synchro 10s, being again Baron, Qingying, and Chaos Angel. We're playing one Coral Dragon and one Tri-Edge. These are your draw engines. You only really go into these if you don't have any Bystials, and if they interrupt you so much that you can't end on Diabell, you draw this, or you go into these two, one of the two, and then you could synchro it into the Synchro 10s and possibly draw, and that's the only interruptions that you could have. We're also playing Malong. You don't have to play this. I never went into it. You could play Ultimate Slayer in this deck for more board breakers, and you could use Malong too to board break even more. Didn't came up, but you could definitely choose as you will. We're playing Silvera and Racilla. This is your Book of Eclipse. This is your extender. We're playing Dark End Dragon. This never came up, but you could definitely, if you want to play something else, you may. Didn't come up, but I'm sure it has its uses. Playing the one Diabell, one Baron, one Sword Soul, one Dispattered. Dispattered can come up, and when it does come up, you can definitely continue to extend and synchro depending on what you can special summon. And it's a good monster, Nick. The Chaos Angel, Cosmic Blazar Dragon that easily, it's a small engine that needs Crimson, and Legacia. Legacia can get special summoned so long as you have 2 level 8s. If you have Lubellion and Diabell, there is a world where when you have your tuners here, you can easily synchro them into Crimson Dragon. Crimson Dragon gets Synchro Rumble. Synchro Rumble brings back the tuner. You easily go into Legacia, and then you have your level 12 right there to go into the Cosmic Blazar Dragon. This is the deck. White Forest Bystials, super fun. Now, let me talk about its weaknesses before we go into the replays and show its strengths. Weaknesses are getting nibbed definitely does hurt. If you don't have any outs being the cross out or called by, then it really stings to get Nibiru'd, stings to get Maxied, and stings to get Fuvolos because you are going into your extra deck a lot in this. So the worst things to do there when that does resolve is pray that you have the right non-engine in your hand, be able to set up woes to either Book of Eclipse, and lastly, try to set up Branded Regain. That's the 3 things that you have to do, and then just pray if you could survive, you survive. If not, you're probably gonna lose. So yeah, it has its flaws. However, when all engines are running Lubellion and White Forest, you are getting a lot of Synchro 10s and a lot of grind game values here. Going for draws, going for layered interruptions, and going into setting and interrupting your opponent. That's the deck, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let's go into replays. Thank you so much. I genuinely enjoyed easily getting in within 4 days into max level with this deck. Let's go, guys. So for this first game that I'd like to show off and how crazy we could combo with some hand like this is we're fighting against a super heavy samurai synchro deck. And we have the out, thankfully, that they didn't have anything to stop the Maxi. They get the super heavy samurai Wakushi, and we Maxi it, so they are playing into Maxi, making us draw. Pretty much stopping them at this. Bringing that back to the back row, having follow-up for next turn and the end phase. So here they have 5 cards in their hand, or 4 that we don't know, and they have either going to be just 1 interruption here and 4 cards in their hand. So with this, our hand is pretty good, and first things and foremost, what we do, we evenly here, because we just want to get rid of those cards. Now, eventually we just have 1 or possibly 2 interruptions in their hand. So we try to bait them by opening up with White Forest. One thing that we like to do here is White Forest is kind of the gimmick to hide and get baited so Lubellion can turn on the grind game here. So as we're trying to show them we're just a white forest deck, please try to interrupt us, we bait them. And they stop our plays with LZ getting banished, Woes being set, and that enables Lubellion in hopes it doesn't get negated. It goes through. We triple tactics talent here. It was a really hard decision on how I was going to go with this, and I decided to, instead of look at their hand, steal their card, because then we could just synchro into Crimson Dragon. Easy. So, at that point, Crimson Dragon gets us Synchro Rumble, so that's why you play Synchro Rumble, because you're able to get back the tuner. Banishing their own monster, so we can set up for Regained. We absolutely love Regain. Playing that, we Synchro Rumble. Coming back, Baldrake banishing to get an extra draw. And we draw something even crazier, a second tuner. And we haven't even used the effect of Rushia yet. So linking the two into Centurion Legatia to draw a second time. Amazing top deck draw. Chain linking with Crimson Dragon to go into the beautiful Cosmic Blazar Dragon. Omni Negate. Drawing one. Linking the two for Dispatter. Now, you may be asking myself, why did I go Dispatter out of the other Synchro 10 boss monsters being Baron or Chaos Angel? Is because we wanted Woes to be online at this point. Getting back LZ means Woes is an extra interruption. So for this, we get one Omni Negate, one Monster Negate or Pop, one Book of Eclipse, one Hand Trap, and one Book of Moon special summon monster. In total, 6 interruptions with Baldrake. So 6 interruptions right there, possibly 7 depending on what we banish. But opponent goes, they have a full hand, playing through. They send that to the grave to try to search. We negate. Negate. They use this again, and they set the two special summoning. At this point, it's very important to know which cards to use first. We want to use Woes first, is because we want to get rid of cards in our field, so Baldrake can be used as fodder to send something away. So we link the two. At that point, they already normal summoned, and we're Book of Eclipsing their entire field, and chain blocking here with LZ. So LZ comes back to our hand. Silvera sets everything face down, and they just surrender knowing that there's too much interruption. Absolutely a powerhouse, this deck, to get a grind game set up. Let's go to the next. So for this game, we go first, and we're fighting a notorious deck that I didn't think it would be here, Tenpai. And with Tenpai, we miraculously, because I had a pretty bad loss rate with Tenpai, depending if they could either just get engine going or not. Either way, we start off with a normal summoning Rushia. Rushia is just to bait out anything. And it was successful because Lubellion getting negated would make it hard to extend here. So Woes gets set after getting discarded. We play Regain. Send Lubellion for Magna Hunt. Magna Hunt banishing Lubellion just to get our Bystial interrupted. They play their own. We get a draw. Unfortunately, they get a dragon, though. So that's not good. I already knew. The moment I saw Bystial Magna Hunt, this is Tenpai. We get Synchro Rumble, and unfortunately, we have to end here. They get their starter, plus 3 cards that's possibly gonna pop me. I was kind of already getting ready to press the red button. At this point, I thought, oh, it's over. It's over. There's really nothing I could do. Unaffected. All I have is one interruption here with Woes. It's not even worth even explaining what. I was told on stream that the opponent did misplay here because they went in battle phase. So at this point, this is when cards are ready to get interrupted here because it's the battle phase. So we Silvera chain 1 Silvera, chain 2 Elza to try to chain block. They try to synchro summon at that point. But at this point, synchro summoning, it's already been activated. So essentially, Transcendent Dragon gets set. They end phase, they Gold Sark, getting Snatch Steal, Bystial Magna banishing its own copy, drawing and chain blocking, getting called by the grave. Oh man, I knew this was over after this. So it felt really good. At this point, our hand is pretty good. We want to start off with Bystials to try to get some draws. So we drew a Swarm. We Elzat, sending Synchro Rumble. We don't no longer need Synchro Rumble. Getting Sylvie. Linking the 2 for Diabell. Diabell getting us back Synchro Rumble. Normal summoning Sylvie. Sylvie getting us Tails. Linking the 2 for Qingying. Now, the reason we go for Qingying is because we have Drew Swarm in our hand. Non-target banish both the graveyard and the field. So that's why I thought that was a good idea. So we chain block and draw. What a fun grind game this deck can do. So drawing, banishing, banishing. Using Rusia's effect to send back Silvera. Having 2 bodies, a tuner and a Druisworm. We boo-boo there, I didn't realize. We link into Crimson Dragon. Now, the only way this can work, using Crimson Dragon, if you haven't noticed already, you have to use Diabell and Bystial Lubellion in rotation in order to go into a Legacia and a Crimson Dragon. That's the only way to do it. Because of that, we go into Centurion Legacia, use the effect to draw, and chain, targeting a level 12 to cheat out Cosmic Blazar Dragon. Drawing again, another great draw here. We banish, we Synchro Rumble, and at that point it's over. We could have went for Chaos Angel or Baron to pop the last card and just go swing for lethal. That was it. That was a cinema. Amazing. I truly love Bystials and what it can do. Another deck. Going first, we're playing against, I believe, Centurion. And honestly, this hand is a big doo-doo. We can't do anything with it. This deck is very prone to bricking because of how much required engine that this deck can have. But at the same time, there's not a lot we could do because it's only synchros, so it is what it is. Unfortunately, all we do is set, and we have no interruptions. That's it. The only thing we have is a nib, and a nib literally solos Centurion if timed correctly. Opponents doing Centurion things, I thought it was over. But properly timed nib can easily make this work. Because as they're summoning Auxilla. Bring it back to hand. They get Wake Up Centurion. Use Wake Up Centurion. Get a level 8. They try to summon here. At this point, this is the time to nib. Because if you give them another body, there's a big chance that they're able to use a trap or spell to banish and still go pop off. At this point, they do max C here. Which I don't want Drew Swarm to get maxed, and we have Branded Regain here. So we're getting a draw from that. Sending everything to the grave. Drew a Swarm being sent as well makes it that we can send the token to the grave and draw. Pretty good draw because when they Wake Up Centurion banish, this was amazing top deck. They can't extend because they would have been able to summon Auxilla and still possibly Synchro Summon on their turn. So really good top deck. They Bystial, our own Bystial. Battle phase, main phase, end phase. So I assume that this has to be either an imperm based off the same placement. But little did I know, when I tried to do Lubellion, it was a call by the grave. So I was kind of sad, bummed, because now we don't have a play. We do get to draw, though. And we draw Tails. Now, This is why this is a cinema and I want to share this off, is because Droll locked, not only are we Droll locked, we got our play stopped and this is our only hand. So what we do is triple tactics talent, steal their opponent's monster, we woes to get a tuner, Link get away, going into Chaos Angel. The reason we go into Chaos Angel, if you're wondering, is Druid Worm's effect will send whatever I synchro to the grave. So at this point, we could just banish the field spell. And they just send our Nibiru. And yeah, it was synchroed with the light and dark. It is unaffected by monsters' activated effects and cannot be destroyed by battle. They just set one. They cannot combo off here. Thankfully for us, we top deck the best starter, sending Tails, special summoning LZ, getting Sylvie, setting Tails, playing Tails for the LZ. It's so important to have these two into rotations, both LZs, because you can't go into Synchro 8 without it. Getting Woes, linking the two for Rusilla. Rusilla sending Woes for Rucia, setting Woes. LZ getting special summoning Rucia. Now this is playing into Nib, but it is what it is. We send and drew an amazing draw from that Lubellion, and that opened up our plays to easily go into Cosmic Blazar Dragon again. We go into Diabell, getting back the regain that we sent. Chaining with LZ, getting Morian, that's our only target with Morian. We get branded regain. We play regained again. We Magna Hut, banishing Magna Hut. Chain 1, chain 2 regained. Going into this pattern. Why? Is because we have a banished Druid Worm that can easily get us into another synchro. Sylvie sending Rusilla. Going into Lubellion. Linking the two into Crimson Dragon. Crimson Dragon gets a Synchro Rumble. That's exactly why you need Synchro Rumble, so you can get back the tuner. Link the two into Legacia. Legacia draws us one. Oh my god, a Baldrake. And then we go into the almighty Cosmic Blazar Dragon again. At this point, we just swing. Bang, boom, boom. OTKF. And get back the Rucia for follow-up, and that is all. Really amazing, although we did brick, so keep that in mind. This deck can brick. A very standard game, and our final. This is our promos game, and we go first. And you'll see how crazy we play into hand traps and still get a crazy board. So, in my mind, I really care about Designator. It's so important. During stream, their field was turning red. So it really scared me that they had a Maxi or a Fuvo. So we just normal special LZ, link the two into Coral Dragon, seeing if they have anything. They do. They have a Ash, so we just have to negate that because I at least want one interruption here. Because if they stopped us, we'll have at least a few interruptions, hopefully to pass their turn. We get the Morian from that. Now with this, we Serenir, link the two for Legacia to try to draw two good draws. And they go red there off screen. So it scared me. And with Serenir, we can easily go into Bystial and get regain. But we top deck an amazing starter we haven't even normal summoned yet. Crazy enough, we send the Morian. Morian for Sylvie. Sylvie normal summon to get negated. At this point, I didn't care it got negated. Why? We have Bystial Magna Hut to set up the Lubellion. We are chilling. We got a tuner on field so we just need a Synchro Climb for Legacia in the Crimson Dragon. So we banish Serenir. Magna Hut sending itself for Lubellion. Lubellion, getting regain, and at that point they surrender. what we were supposed to do with that board is that we were supposed to synchro Sylvie and Lubellion into a synchro 12 to get synchro Rumble. We would have gotten Chaos Blazar or Cosmic Blazar. We would have went into Rusilla synchro 6 and going easily into Diabell and set Imperm and have at least 5 interruptions. So for this game, we're doing a standard game with just LZ. We're fighting Resonators. We go first, and we just do the standard play with White Forest. White Forest LZ for Sylvie. Sylvie to get interrupted, but little do we know we already have the Azumina, so it's fine. But we negate the 2 cards here. We negate that Fuvelos, because that's a big no-no. We link, or synchro, into Rusilla. Rusilla sending Imperm. Imperm getting woes, special summoning, and getting Diabell here. Diabell gets us back the Imperm, chain 2 to get Morian. We set 3. For this end board, what we have here is a Synchro 10, a Book of Eclipse, a Book of Moon special summon, and a Imperm. That's 4 interruptions that our opponent has to go through with 4 cards in their hand. They Imperm our cards, so we send Morian. And then they Oath. Now, I do misplay in this after this chain. I do set the Morian for next turn. We dodge the effect of Imperm by getting Zapper Shrimp. Zapper Shrimp sending Woes, so Woes is now offline. Thinking I was gonna destroy it, they chain. And so we synchro summon here. Synchroing into Baron. They get Primera. We Woes to set for follow-up, and then we Imperm here. And we still have that 1 negate, and they Crimson Gaia. I don't want that to go through, so they could synchro it up. So we negate, and they surrender. Pretty standard game there. So for our final game, we got a standard hand with LZ again. And we just go into Sylvie. Sylvie getting specialing to get Woes. Synchroing. Going into Rusilla. Rusilla sending Woes. Woes getting LZ as Amina. Setting. Linking into Diabell. Diabell getting us our Evenly. And Morian. At this point, I knew they had Nib because their screen went red. And when we tried to threaten, they nibbed us. So at this point, I sent Evenly because we don't need it. The mindset here is that we want to send all of this to the grave. So then for next turn, we can use the Tuner White Forest cards. So we get nibbed here, and this is what I mean. The weakness of this deck is that we can't play through Maxi, Fuvelos, or Nibiru. So we Ash Blossom their starter. Thankfully, that was enough. They just end phase turn. So we Woes here, and we Sylvie to chain, because we just want to get to Book of Eclipse and get cards on the field on our turn. So just in case they interrupt us, we Silvera here. Setting all face down and chaining with LZ. And at this point, important part, we start. We Sylvie to send back Diabell, trying to Synchro Climb for later. Going into Tri-Edge. Tri-Edge draws us nothing because they Forbidden Droplet us. Which was fine, because what we do here is even more interesting. We just attack and just smash, and that was it. We had enough interruptions to interrupt them and then possibly just go into a Synchro 12 if we wanted to try to extend. That was it, guys. That's the Synchro Cup. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing that. I was super proud that I made this deck. I was very locked on, really wanting to play a Bystial sort of deck with Branded Regained, and when I saw White Forest, I just knew, hey, they're light and dark deck. Maybe there could be some synergy between the two, and there definitely is, because you could go ending on Diabell with Cosmic Blazar. It is very possible, and Synchro 10s. Now, if I want to share again, the weakness of this deck is it is so weak to Max C and Nibiru that if you get one of those two resolved, you're probably going to end and pray that you have to have the right non-engine to stop your opponent, or you just lose. But it is what it is. The other big gripe I have with the deck is if you draw too many monsters and no cards to send to the grave or banish for Bystial engines, the deck is kind of dead too. So yeah, it has its weaknesses, but again, when all parts of the engine are moving, they actually can make something pretty unique. All right, guys, I hope you guys can see me finish off going into the second stage. I'll do my best to make this deck work. Whether it does work or not, this is all for fun. I just genuinely like Bystials. So yeah, guys, thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope to see you in the next video. Next one will probably be the second stage, so let's do our best. Runicks YGO out.